You guys probably wouldn't even notice this if I didn't stop the video to point it out, but I'm not happy with anything in this video today. I don't like my makeup that much. I mean, it's okay. It's good, not great. Don't love my hair. The lighting goes a little bananas. The sound's not the best. I just want to get better about posting even when I'm not obsessed with the video, just for the sake of being consistent, and I'm excited about this idea. So love me through it. The next video quality will be better. Okay? Thank you. Bye.
I don't even know where to start with today's video. I'm so freaking excited. Let me quickly explain to you what we're going to talk about today because I want to get right into this. I don't know where you were from about 2000 to maybe 2009, but I can tell you where I was. I was either at work, asleep, or watching infomercials. Infomercials were something to see. I don't even know if they still exist. I mean, I'm sure they do, but I can't even remember the last time I saw one. What I do know to be true is that there's no way the infomercials are nearly as fun and exciting as they were to us back in the day, specifically in the beauty category, because if you're anything like me, you grew up in the early 2000s and your beauty vocabulary kind of started and ended with whatever was available at your local Walgreens, which really wasn't much. If you were a beauty girly, it was just Sahara deserts. There was nothing to tickle your pickle except for whatever was at the Clinique counter and, like I said, the drugstore. And those things were great. They had their place, but infomercials were just like a whole new world of products and techniques. For easy payments of $19.95, they promise to transform you, your look, and your life, and I want to talk about it today. But before we get started, okay, what I would need from you, this is all I ask of you guys today. Please leave your comments down below. If you picked any of this stuff up, what's your experience with it? Send me everything. In fact, DM me your pictures, your bump it pictures in particular. I want to see everyone's bump it experience. We are talking about the bump it today. I want to hear everything because I hung out on comment sections for like 4 days trying to get the tea, and there was a few funny things I saw, but I want the dirt. I want to go down memory lane with you guys. Let's go. Hold my hand. Let's do this together. Anyway, what's up? If you're new here, my name is Whitney. I'm a complete and total beauty junkie. I love talking about makeup, skincare, hair care, wellness, anti-aging, beauty culture, it girls, and I have tons of videos like this slated to come out. I have been pounding away at the keyboard. So many fun beauty nostalgia videos coming, so if you're interested in it, make sure you subscribe and stick around. And before we go any further, check the down bar for links on my social media platforms. Thumbs up the video if you enjoy it, and let's just get started. So I want to begin with the product I am most excited to discuss, the one that I'm going to have to fight tooth and nail not to go too far into, not to take the whole video up with. I almost wanted to make a whole video just about this thing. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but I'm not gonna. I want to talk about the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system. I even remember where I was the first time I saw or heard of this thing. It blew my mind and literally changed my life. I'll talk to you quickly about what this system was, and then we'll talk about its impact on me, and we'll move on to the other things. Begrudgingly, I could just sit and talk about this all day. Before YouTube, before the very first YouTube video was ever uploaded, let alone the very first makeup tutorial was ever uploaded, Alexis Vogel was out here on her grind and basically giving us the entire formula and template for every beauty guru you've ever heard of in your entire life. Now, Alexis Vogel, rest in peace, unfortunately, she passed away in 2019, was a Hollywood makeup artist. She was pretty synonymous with the early 2000s Playboy look, and I've done a couple of videos talking about aesthetics, particularly early 2000s aesthetics, and I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. The Playmates, they were the bad bitches, man. Those were the OG Instagram baddies, and they had a very particular look, a very particular vibe in their aesthetic. Sex kitten. It's so over the top. It's not going to translate to you guys if you were not there, because a lot of these images I'm showing you right now of Alexis's work, particularly the images that were in the infomercial, just seemed like kind of run-of-the-mill stuff that literally anybody with a Morphe palette and a 217 brush could bust out, but that was not the world we were living in at the time. Alexis Vogel created this. This was her monster. It was her style. She made literally everyone who sat in her chair look like an absolute freaking goddess. I've always been obsessed with the Playmate aesthetic. I've always loved it. Playboy as a brand is dead, essentially, and it'll never be the same. You had to be there. You can't possibly appreciate it if you weren't. The first time this infomercial popped up on my TV and I was seeing Alexis Vogel's work on these beautiful women, and the infomercial goes on to tell me that I could learn how to do this, my mind was completely freaking broken. I was never the same after. I was so excited until I was about 21. I didn't even know that you could be a makeup artist outside of Hollywood directly. Like in my mind, that is the only place makeup artists were. It's the only place they existed. The idea that regular people could put their makeup on this way did not translate. It was almost like I thought like you needed some sort of special permission to do it. I don't know. Again, I don't know what I thought. It was a vocabulary, a conversation that did not exist. So imagine me, I think I was like 14 or 15 at the time. I'm laying on my bed at my mama's house in Georgia, and I think me and my sister were maybe watching MTV or something like that. And all of a sudden it's infomercial time, and boom, introducing the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system. I was forever changed. Like I said, it was this awareness that I can learn to do this. I love this infomercial so much, you guys, so much that I literally busted out a VHS tape. You know how everyone had that one VHS tape? You just record over it and record over it. Like I would record Britney Spears' performances at the VMAs so I could like learn it. I just grabbed my VHS tape, threw it in the VCR, didn't care what I was recording over, to record the Alexis Vogel infomercial, and I would watch this infomercial all the time. The way you'd watch a movie. I was like 15 years old. I wasn't like a little kid. I was just a little weirdo. This just completely broke my brain, changed my life. I could not believe this existed. I knew better to even ask for it though. I knew my mother and father were never gonna pay for the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system. And it was so infuriating and upsetting and depressing to me. I would have done almost anything to get my hands on it. I don't know why I needed to go to high school looking like a playmate, but yeah, anyway, so you got like her little makeup kit. The actual Alexis Vogel cosmetics line would go on to exist well after the infomercial went away. I don't know when it went under or if it even did, because I'm 19.7%, that I said 19, not 90, 19.7% sure that someone out there is still producing and selling makeup with Alexis Vogel's name on it. Don't quote me. Like I said, 19%, not 90. But anyways, you got this little collection of makeup products with some brushes, and then you also got the most important part, which was the DVD. And put a pin in that on the DVD. I'll have a funny story to tell you in a minute. You got the DVD, then you got a bonus DVD, which was like Alexis's guide to glamorous hair and gorgeous lashes or something like that. Then you also got your little pamphlet, like a little book. This was YouTube Beauty Guru 101 before any of these things existed. She was a pioneer. And in fact, about a year or two ago, I started seeing people talking about the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system on micro content, and I have never felt more seen in my entire life. I thought I was the only one who geeked out over this, but there are so many people who remember it and so many people who want to give Alexis her flowers. Unfortunately, like I said, she passed away in 2019 from cancer. So tragic. She truly was an innovator and a pioneer in this space, this way of teaching women how to feel and look their best. And even the infomercial itself, again, I watched it the other day to bone up on it. I found myself really touched by the reaction some of the women had in that infomercial. I don't know how much of it was churched up for camera or not. A lot of them seemed very authentic. It really reminded me in a way that I think sometimes I need to be reminded that women who dedicate their lives to teaching other women how to feel and look their best, we are little miracle workers out here. I used to feel really almost ashamed that this is the thing I decided to dedicate my life to. And I decided young, y'all, the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system was part of my decision-making process when I was 14. I've never wanted to do anything else, but I've felt a little bit of shame about it over the years because it can be really frivolous and superficial and patriarchy, you know, all the things people say. Watching that infomercial the other night, I was just reminded, like I said, of how impactful beauty can be as a tool for women. Like how much better it can make someone feel. I don't know, it made me feel warm and fuzzy, made me want to make a lot more content, and it kind of refocused me on why this path I've chosen, I should stay on it, because Alexis Vogel will never know the impact she had on me, and I'm sure tons of other little beauty girlies that grew up around that time. In fact, today I did my makeup inspired by Alexis Vogel. Like this is a very pale skin, cool toned 40-year-old version of it, no big deal. And again, this hair, I did not get Alexis's gorgeous hair and glamorous lashes DVD, clearly. I just wanted to honor her today. I could go on and on and on about this, but I do quickly want to tell you guys a funny story about this before I move forward. I didn't get the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system. My parents would have never, ever let me buy it. But when I was in makeup school in 2000 and 12. I'm in makeup school, and for some reason I decided to look the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system up on eBay, and I found somebody who was selling the DVD. I bought the DVD, got it to my house, and I watched the Alexis Vogel Hollywood Makeup System DVD, and I tried out all the little tips. This was like 10 years ago, so I really don't remember very much about it. It was like this really incredible full circle moment for me at that time, where I was like, little 14-year-old Whitney would die if she knew that she is currently in makeup school in Las Vegas, on her way to becoming a professional makeup artist, had already worked with photographers. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had a moment in your life where you kind of get to appreciate how far you've come. And I just want to say, from the bottom of my heart, Alexis, wherever you are, most likely in heaven because you're a complete angel, thank you so much for... I'm about to get emotional. How embarrassing. That's weird. I don't know why. Because I'm getting old. Everything makes me emotional now. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to Alexis Vogel. Thank you to everyone that helped her bring this to life. And again, if you have an Alexis Vogel story, I have to know it down below. I do need to move on. I do not want to. I have to move on. But the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system is, in my opinion, the single greatest thing to ever grace an infomercial. There, I said it. Come for me if you want to. A close second, bareMinerals. Do you guys remember bareMinerals infomercials? This was harder for me to find information on the way I could find like the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system, because the bareMinerals infomercial went on forever. It might very well still be going on, and bareMinerals as a brand still exists today. It's in Ulta, and bareMinerals, it's just such a legacy brand at this point that kind of honing in and getting a whole lot of visuals or promotional material from the very specific time frame I'm talking about is a little bit more difficult, but I still wanted to discuss it because it kind of leans into what I was talking about before, which is infomercials did such a good job of introducing us to beauty concepts and products that just otherwise we'd have never... I mean, I can only speak for myself. Like I said, some of y'all might have grown up in Manhattan or Miami or Vegas or LA and, you know, Ricky's and Alcone, just everywhere as far as the eye could see. It was not the case for me. The information that was available was so limited, crazy limited. Like I said, it was either magazines or infomercials for the most part. And when something like bareMinerals came out, I remember thinking like, especially because at the time, powder foundation, y'all, that was the move. At least for the girls in high school, we were all wearing that CoverGirl powder liquid cream. You know what I'm talking about. We all wore it. It was so the vibe at the time. I don't even know if a lot of girls my age were even wearing liquid foundation. I don't think so. I think it was mostly powder foundation. So bareMinerals always seemed very interesting to me, but I would not get to try bareMinerals my own self until I was like 21. Funny story. I lived in Japan at the time, and I had a friend named Marina. Hey girl, if you're watching this. I was at her house one day and she was like, hey, I signed up for the bareMinerals subscription thing. They keep sending me all this. I have tons of it. Do you want some of this stuff? So she gave me like a box full of it. The actual foundation, the mineral veil, bareMinerals warmth. Like, hell yeah. I saw it on TV. I'm excited to try it. I go home and I try it for the first time. I'll never forget this as long as I live. bareMinerals, at least at the time, I don't know how much they've changed the formula, definitely had a healthy heaping dose of mica in it. Mica, for all you guys who don't know, it's basically the powder element in your cosmetics that make things shimmery. There was some level of that in the bareMinerals. So anyway, the first day I go to put this on, my skin, also I was 21, did I say that enough? My skin was like radiant, beaming. I had never seen anything like it. This is before highlighter. This is before the word dewy. This is before the word glowy. I just thought I looked like a glowing goddess. I'll never forget it. I was at work that very same day that I tried it for the first time, and this guy comes in and he's talking to me about something work related, and he goes, you look very nice today. And he probably, for all I know, meant like my outfit or something, but I was like, it's my skin. And then I go on to tell this total stranger about my bareMinerals system. Anyway, bareMinerals like was that girl. In fact, my mom, I would buy her bareMinerals like as a present every once in a while, and when she was running low, I'd always know because she'd call me and be like, I'm running out of my mineral veil. Let's quickly talk about bareMinerals warmth and we'll move on. They gave us bareMinerals warmth with very little consideration for whether or not we were equipped to handle it, because I looked like I had like a low level rosacea situation happening. It was so warm. It was aptly named warmth. It was borderline red. I would just slather that sumbitch all over me. And mineral veil, what I do remember about that was it was like the most blurring. Now I'm thinking about it, I might need to go pick up mineral veil and see if it still has something to offer, because, like I said, bareMinerals is still around. They've expanded their line, and I don't know why I think this to be true. Please correct me down below, or maybe I'll correct myself in post. For some reason, in my mind, Buxom is owned by bareMinerals. Is that true? Why do I think that? Anyway, bareMinerals still here. Please tell me your bareMinerals stories down below. I'd love to know. I'm not gonna go too far into our next one because I have a video coming up. I don't wanna give away what it's gonna be about, but this will be in that video. But I wanna talk about the king and queen of late night infomercials in the early 2000s, and that is Proactiv. Oh my gosh. If you were anyone in the early 2000s, you had a Proactiv commercial. Jessica Simpson had one. Apparently at one point, Katy Perry did too, and so did P. Diddy. But apparently it cracked 1 billion annual sales in the mid 2000s. Proactiv was like all the literacy we had around skincare, and there was something about it being like a system. I remember when I first saw the Proactiv system, you know, it was like a cleanser, a toner, and a moisturizer, and I think they'd throw like a clay mask in there for good measure. But look, I would go on to like be smited for this later. For the majority of my life until I was like 26 years old, I had never had a pimple in my life. I know. Don't worry. I'm paying for it now. It's all evening out. I had never had skin issues, so skincare certainly wasn't something on my mind. I mean, don't get me wrong. Before my mom would let me wear makeup, because I wasn't allowed to wear it until I was like 13, she would let me buy skincare, which was all Oxy pads and Noxzema and St. Ave scrub. Don't get ahead of me. I have a video coming about this. But I was allowed to have it because it was a grooming product that wasn't makeup, so I wanted it and I wanted a lot of it, and it just wasn't as exciting to me at the time because I had no issues with my skin. So it's like I had an interest in skincare insofar as like it was something I could buy. I didn't care about it enough at all to consider that you should have a skincare routine, a regular skincare routine. So seeing it like in a system, like 3 things coming together, it just seemed so bougie and like insidery and like hot girl coded, but I didn't have zits. I didn't have a single zit to my name. So I never needed or was interested in trying the Proactiv system myself. Apparently it worked for a lot of people. I mean, it must have if it did so well. And I remember even, damn, it was probably like 2010, 2011, 2012, sometime in there. In my hometown, there was like a Proactiv vending machine in the middle of the mall. And you would see those kind of like randomly throughout the country. But yeah, for a while, Proactiv was truly like the only name in skincare most people knew in the early 2000s. I mean, outside of like Neutrogena and like Noxzema, stuff like that, but Proactiv, there was something about the branding and the system that just made it seem way more special and exciting. It was just straight up benzoyl peroxide. That's how little we knew about skincare back then, that like the names of these ingredients were just like, oh, benzoyl peroxide. I need to know your Proactiv stories down below. I want to talk about Bump Its. Bump Its, man. This is so hard to understand when you watch the Bump It infomercial because everyone in that infomercial looks crazy. This hair was not good at all. It's not good now. It wasn't good then, but I thought it was, man. I thought this like giant cone head thing with like a tiny little ponytail at the bottom was just epitome of fanciness and class. Like it just looked so freaking cool. Plus, I've always had an issue with my hair. I have fine hair, supposedly I have a lot of it. I disagree. I entirely disagree. I've always liked big hair. I don't know what it is. It's the South. I don't know what to tell you. In fact, I gotta say, in perusing the comment section of these infomercials, I saw a lot of people trying to make the case for the fact that Bump Its are still in the South, and I don't know. I would like to know where you guys are seeing this. I live in Tennessee now. I'm from Georgia. Even when the Bump It was first out back in the day, I was the only person I knew who had one. I don't know. Everyone keeps swearing up and down that this is still a thing. I don't know. Please tell me where you're seeing it, because I never see a Bump It. A Bump It was basically like this piece of acrylic in the shape of almost like an arch that you would lay at the crown of your head and then take your hair and kind of place it upon the Bump It, thus giving you sky-high volume, and in the process making you look like an absolute freaking lunatic. But the Bump It came around at like this perfect moment because there were so many different aesthetics that were trending at that time that all benefited from the bump it. You had the scene kids who loved that like giant, you know what I'm talking about, you know, scene queen, the bump it, colored hair, side swoop. Also, this is around the time like Jersey was infecting everything. Between the Jersey Shore, do you guys remember Jersey-licious? I could make a whole video about Jersey-licious. Another piece of media that changed my life forever. The Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system and Jersey-licious. Just so me-coded, I couldn't even tell you. But you had the Jersey moment that took over the entire country. In fact, I guess Snooki was widely accused of using a bump it, and she came out and denounced bump its altogether, said she would never do such a thing. Oh, apparently like the Zooey Deschanel of it all, that aesthetic, that kind of 60s thing. 60s fashion was very present in the, I would say like 2000, what are we gonna call it? 2007 to 2010 maybe? It was like a combination of 80s and 60s. It was the strangest mixture of things. But yeah, the 60s aesthetic was pretty big, or 60s coded aesthetic was pretty big. Again, looking at someone like Zooey Deschanel. Also, Amy Winehouse kind of brought this sort of, she had more of a beehive, but it was still kind of the same thing. Then you also had the 80s. I feel like the 80s were really big in the early 2000s up until 2012, maybe 2011. Yeah, it was like a big period of time where the 80s, the scene kids, the 60s, the Jersey of it all, these were very strong aesthetic styles that people were rocking at the time. And the bump it had something for everybody. Really brought us all together. I saw a comment on the bump it of it all where somebody said something like, oh, I didn't buy a bump it. I would just take socks and put it in my hair. And I was like, oh, do you guys remember when people would use socks to make donuts for our buns? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I have a picture of me, if I can find it, I'll post it here, of me in the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas with Flavor Flav, and I have the biggest, it wasn't even like a sock that I used to make my bun back then, it was a leg warmer. Oh, take a giant leg warmer to make a sock bun out of. Oh my gosh, not cute. But when I read that, that's what it reminded me of too. Like we would just stick all kinds of stuff in our heads to make our hair look as like big and shapely as humanly possible. It was so bad. It was so bad. I've seen a lot of people say that the bump it is still that girl. It's still a vibe, and I humbly disagree. I will say, I don't care if the bump it ever comes back. I would like the Millennial Poof to come back though. You know what I'm talking about, where you did like the little poof in the front and then it was like your half up, half down style. I love a half up, half down moment. The top of my hair always irritates me. So if the Millennial Poof wants to come back, I will sign up happily for that one. But the bump it itself, I'm so good on that. So the last two I have are just kind of like honorable mentions, just like little silly things that I think I want to talk about mostly because they speak to, like for instance, let's talk about the ped egg. At the time it was revolutionary, this product being sold to us that could like give us, this was always a really good hook by the way for any infomercial. If you could promise people salon quality results at home, you had a bestseller on your hand. And the idea that we could buy this tool that would get our feet as soft and smooth as they get when we go in and get a pedicure was just like, mind blown. Now, to be honest with you, I do not find this one to be super compelling, although I will say apparently it made $450 million in revenue. What it does remind me of though is we used to have infomercials to sell us things like the ped egg. This is just the most basic, bottom of the barrel, uninteresting, nothing burger Amazon product you could ever think of. But at the time, again, we didn't have Amazon affiliates, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have none of that. You literally had to pay X amount of dollars, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to make an infomercial to get this kind of stuff in front of us, because really the only beauty advertisements you ever saw were, you know, Maybelline, L'Oreal, and that was on TV and then through magazines. But interesting kind of like niche, useful gadgety things like the ped egg you were only going to hear about through an infomercial. I don't know, it's like I said, this is less about the ped egg itself being this really cool thing. It's fine, it's whatever. It more just kind of made me think about like, wow, the effort companies used to have to go through to get stuff in front of us is so much greater than it is now. It is so simple to get a product to market and get it in front of people. We really, I think, take that for, I mean, look, you could argue whether it's better or worse now because of that, but it just does really go to show that the literacy and conversation around beauty has changed so much just in my lifetime. So much more awareness around this stuff. That's really what this video is about, how tickled I am at the lack of knowledge we used to have in the products, the hero products we would just put on such a pedestal compared to now, and there's just so many you can't even keep up with. The last one I'll leave you with, the Wrap, Snap, and Go rollers. I actually did have this one. My mother bought them. I begged her to put them in my hair one night before school. Like, the idea was basically you'd take your damp hair, mostly damp hair, wrap it up in these rollers, which basically look like those snap bracelets you'd like get at the skating rink or something like that. You'd wrap your hair up in it and then wake up the next day and supposedly you're gonna have like this amazing mermaid hair. Fun fact, did not work on me at all. I literally woke up in tears at how bad my hair looked. I had to wash my hair before school. It looked so terrible. My mother was vexed with me for wasting her time. It was a big catastrophic morning. I'll never forget it. But this reminds me so much of the overnight blowout, and that just goes to show, like, we constantly think we're just reinventing the wheel and coming up with these super cool ideas and things, but they've been here, man. They just have better marketing. Maybe the product itself has been more thought out, and like, obviously the overnight blowout and these are not even remotely marketed to do the same thing, but they kind of are, right? They kind of are. The Wrap, Snap, and Go rollers for me are just one of those products that I look at and it's like nostalgic, but also very much in the here and now. And it tickles my pink, I'm not gonna lie. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Please, like I said, let me know down below your experiences with any of these products, especially the Alexis Vogel Hollywood makeup system. You guys, I could go on all day. In fact, if this video gets 1,000 likes, I'll do a whole video on the Alexis Vogel system. Like I said, I did a tutorial today on this look inspired by her. It's not at all exact. I didn't follow her DVD. I just looked at her pictures and did something that kind of reminded me of what she did. But honestly, this video is truly just a love. I'm about to get emotional again. What is this? This video is honestly mostly just a love letter to Alexis Vogel. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Please let me know what you want to see down below, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.
Can you say hi? Hi, everybody. Hello. Can you say hello? You give the baby kiss? Mwah. Mwah.
What's that?
Yeah. This is Mama's workstation. It's so cute.